Hey everybody, this is James.
And Mikey.
And it's just us two. Look at that. What's going on, right? Are we breaking up? Is the band breaking up? It's been a while, right? We've had these secret episodes, and I mean, at this point, I don't think New Bill's been an episode for almost 2 months, so good times. Anyways, this is the Movie Pals podcast, or what remains of it, and today we have a double feature where we will be reviewing 2 films that just released. We were supposed to have a lot of input on this one, but it's just me and Mikey now, so it's going to be Gladiator II and Wicked. Without further ado, let's jump into Gladiator II.
I own you now. But whose head could I give you to satisfy your fury?
The general will do. Rome has taken everything from me. But I will have my vengeance.
There is plenty of pain waiting for you in the next life. I don't know why you are so greedy for it in this one.
Your Majesties.
This is your gladiator.
It is. I have the trust of the Emperor. It will clear my path to the throne. You will be my instrument.
I will never be your instrument in this life or the next.
So Gladiator 2, sitting at a 71% on Rotten Tomatoes. After his home is conquered by the tyrannical emperors who now lead Rome, Lucius is forced to enter the Colosseum and must look to his past to find strength to return the glory of Rome to its people. Directed by Ridley Scott, who also most recently directed Napoleon in 2023, House of Gucci in 2021, The Last Duel in 2021, and All the Money in the World in 2017. This is written by David Scarpa, who also wrote Napoleon and also All the Money in the World, as well as The Day They Stood Still in 2008. This was just released on November 22nd, 2024 in theaters. On a budget of $250 million so far worldwide, it's made $220. So it looks like it is most likely going to get past that soonish from the sound of it. It's only been out a few days, so the fact that it's already doing this points in the right direction, and probably why they're even looking at possibly another sequel. This stars Paul Mescal as Lucius Verus Aurelius / Hanno. We'll talk about that in a bit. Pedro Pascal as General Acacius. Connie Nielsen returns as Lucilia. Denzel Washington is Macrinus. Joseph Quinn is Emperor Geta. Fred Heckinger is Emperor Caracalla. Derek Jacobi is Senator Gracchus, who returns from the first film as well. And Alexander Karim is Ravi. So, Mikey, let's talk about it. Let's jump right into it first with the original film. I know you rewatched it before the movie, because we saw this movie together. What's your thoughts of the first one? What's your history of the first movie? The first original Gladiator came out in 2000.
So I remember seeing it in the theaters.
Okay.
And since then, I've probably seen it like once or twice, but it's been a while since I saw it. I picked it up on 4K and I watched it about 5 days before the new one came out. Gave it a little time to breathe, and it's a fantastic movie.
That's the way to do it. Yeah.
I forgot how good the movie was. It's
Yeah.
fantastic. Everything is good about it. So it's what you expect from a epic action movie. You can't really ask for too much more.
Yeah, I did the same thing. I bought that little dual pack, Gladiator and Braveheart combo, which is kind of weird for me, but it's like, these 2 films, I guess historical, quote unquote historical movies, right? And I saw it in theaters too. My dad took my brother and I to see it originally, and I thought even back in the day it was like my favorite movie. I remember just seeing it. I was like, this is the most epic fucking thing I've ever seen. And like I said, I told you previously too, that was one of our first DVDs. I think we too was Gladiator. We watched it a few times, but I hadn't seen it probably in like 20 years, probably.
Yeah, it's been
something like that. I just remember it being really good, and truly, it did not disappoint. The only thing that threw me off of it, I didn't realize I'd watched the director's cut version of it, or not director's cut, extended cut version of it, which I'd never seen before, and I did notice a few added scenes to it. I don't think it adds too much in context. It's nothing like, oh my god, the plot points are different now, right? But did you realize when you originally saw the movie that there was all these weird ass like slow-mo scenes that don't really like, those ones threw me off a little bit, man.
Zack Snyder style?
Yeah, no, not even. It's just like a weird it's like a weird style choice they go with a few times.
I don't remember them being there, and I actually, when I watched it, I didn't notice it. But now that you're saying it, I'm like, oh yeah.
Oh, I noticed it immediately because that's the one thing that dated the movie for me a little bit. I'm like, oh, this is super 2000s or late 90s kind of shit to kind of hide the cuts a little bit, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
if you slow it like this, they can just go in slow, and then you make it like, oh no, but it's really faster. But no, it was great though. It was really good rewatch. I watched it about the same time as you two, a couple of days before this one came out, and loved it, man. Absolutely loved it. So, what did you think about the sequel, Gladiator 2?
I liked it. I mean, it's not as good as the first one, but I did like it. I feel like they kind of took a little bit out of the main character, out of Hano's character. They took a little bit away from him, and like Denzel's character kind of took a little bit like a half, like big role. Like there's two big roles in this one, right? There's like two storylines going on, and they are meshed together, obviously. But I feel like there's two different things kind of happening.
I agree. Yeah, a little bit.
And it kind of took a little bit away, like from the feel of how you got from the first one. Like the first one was really epic because you got the one person, everything revolving around him.
You're only following Maximus the whole time. It's his journey.
Yeah, and this one you kind of don't get that from it. You do in some aspects, but because they had that kind of secondary storyline going with Denzel's character, I can't say his name. Is it Macrinus? Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Okay, so Macrinus' character, like, I mean, he has a whole subplot, and there's nothing wrong with that story. I like that story too. It's just because they split their time between them, it kind of didn't work as well as the first one.
I think it's just he's a scene stealer too, really, man. Like Denzel's character has a past where he's it almost seems like at first I was like, okay, they're kind of treading the same water as the first film here. You think he's like the Oliver Reed character where he's like, I was a gladiator and I got free, but it's like, no, this guy is a much different kind. He's coming from a different perspective, and he's not supposed to be liked really too. And they kind of try to show you that a little bit early on, but there's little glimmers of hope throughout the film where I almost felt like, is he good? Is he trying to actually help, or is he just doing this for his own like gain for power? You know?
Well, he is trying to gain power. I feel like they tried to portray it like he is getting revenge. By doing what he's doing, right? So he's almost like someone wronged him, so he's just trying to correct it. Like, kind of get that vibe out.
Especially at the end when they reveal like who he was like associated with. I'm like, okay, it's getting a little too convenient now, right?
Right, yeah.
That was my biggest issue with the movie. Is don't get me wrong, I really actually liked it. This was last year at the end of the year for most anticipated film. Mine was actually Gladiator 2. And watching it, like, it works for me. I actually liked the look of it all. I liked the action sequences. I liked the story. But I will say, like, the last act of the film is where it loses a bit of steam for me. And it gets a little bit too Hollywood for me.
Yeah.
Like, it gets really, like an event of conveniences really happened. And I think they start forcing connections to the first movie a little too heavy for me. Yeah. Which I understand. But it's like, you know.
Things also start happening a lot faster at the end.
Yeah, it's really sudden, right?
Yeah,
from a certain, we'll talk about it later, but it's from a certain action point, it really picks up the pace. Like, oh shit, this is it. Like, this is how this is going to end, I guess. You know, I mean, I didn't ever think they were going to make a sequel to Gladiator, so that was a movie that was definitely pretty self-contained, and I think it ends really nicely as just its own film. Did we need like a legacy sequel to it in a way? Debatable, but I won't lie. Like I said, I still had fun.
Yeah, I liked it. I mean, I still enjoyed every second. The action was amazing. You know,
maybe it's true. Maybe guys are just obsessed with the Roman Empire. We just don't know it, man. You know, like how many times do you think about it per week? I'm like, I guess a lot.
Never realized it, but all the time. Okay. Yeah,
every day of my life, I guess. I don't know. Shit, you guys don't think about the Colosseum? What did you think about Paul Mescal, by the way? We could kind of spoil it. He is Lucius, the boy from the first one. If you saw the latest trailer, we're not ruining it for you. They already did it, so I'm just gonna let you know. He is the boy from the first film that is the son to Lucilla. Lucilla? Everyone's name is weird here.
Lucilla, yeah.
Yeah. Played by Connie Nielsen. And it's revealed that Maximus was the father to Lucius the whole time. That is one of the connections that is a little strange, I think, because they kind of backtrack a bit. But it does make sense because in the first movie, they do hint that they had a romance before. And their sons are about the same age, meaning like if he was with her, he left her at a certain point and got with his wife, right? So it makes sense. So in a way, you can see it that way, but they definitely lean into it a bit heavy.
But does that take away from the first film a little bit though? Because like he's sitting there like avenging his son and wife, right?
Mhm.
And he's and this connection that he has with them,
Meanwhile,
and
he
then
had a baby the whole
and
time
then
right there.
he's a someone's baby daddy over here.
I
Like,
wasn't aware though. Apparently,
I mean, still though, that still takes away a little bit of like the passion that he had for his wife.
it
and
does,
kid.
but it also does. I think it adds a little bit to like why he maybe felt a little connected to Lucius, and then at the end she's doing all this stuff to protect him from the Emperor, right?
Yeah, and then they talk about more of that in this one too. So yeah,
I thought his background was kind of nuts. Like it's like his mom had him leave because she knew as soon as Maximus died, people would be gunning for her family because she was the last heir. He was the last heir to the throne. And he goes off and lives with basically like some randos, gets lost in the desert, and then just ends up in some city, just lives his life out there pretty much. Like,
yeah, I mean, he's almost like a general or something like that. Not a general maybe, but like a leader of like the army over there too. So he like worked his way up to like pretty high up.
Yeah. A lot of people have said like Paul Mescal's like miscast in this. I don't believe in that. I thought he does a really good job, man. I like him a lot. He is a very kind of like screen presence that I think works for this movie. Don't get me wrong, it's not as good as Russell Crowe. I agree with you, but it works. It works for what he's got to do, and he has like it's like a mix almost, right? Like there's scenes where it's very dramatic with him, with his mom. He's trying to kind of like he's ran away from that past, you know. But then there's a lot of scenes where he's actually kind of funny, which is kind of fun, cool. Like he seems like he's in such a shitty situation, but it's kind of like, well, you know, he has little quirks and stuff like that.
Yeah, and he does a good job in all those different roles too. I feel like they try to do too much with the character.
He is spread a little thin. I'll admit, yeah.
So, but he does a good job as well as he can with what he's given. I think. I don't think he's miscast. I think he did as well as anybody could. You know, as far as what they were looking for, I guess. In terms of there were a couple things here. Like he's mad at his mom for a little while, and
but
like
he gets over it pretty quick, right?
Yeah, it's just like instantly. There's okay, I guess I'm over that.
Some events happen. He sees the Max's armor. Then he's just like, "I love you again."
Yeah, and there's a lot of those type of things that happen, not just with him and his mom, but like with other characters. Like same thing with some of the other characters. I don't want to spoil stuff because I'm sure we'll talk about it later on.
I think that really goes with the whole point of like he is supposed to be the main character, but he does kind of take a sidestep to a lot of other characters, right?
Yeah,
which I would have wanted more. Truthfully, I kind of was like, okay, is this his destiny? Is he supposed to like? Because he's technically a prince of Rome, right? And and. It's crazy how we have. I mean, it's just weird we have a sequel to Gladiator 24 years later. But I mean, we're rolling with it, man. You know?
Yeah, because I think if maybe they took out, like, let's say they took out Denzel's whole side story, right? And they just kind of fleshed out his story by itself, would that have been too close to the original?
I think so. I think that's why they didn't do it. Because it's just a repeat. It is a true, like, legacy. It's almost a legacy reboot at that point, right?
Right. So I think they try to do
the same canon, but it's like a different guy that becomes a gladiator. But he also is connected to Maximus. Everyone else is actually technically connected to him too. So, by the way, Pedro Pascal, right, dude? I really liked his character in this, man.
Oh man,
Cassius?
Yeah, Cassius was really good, and you can see the fight inside, like internal struggle he is having with what he has to do.
Dude, he looks really good in this movie too. Like the way he's talking about, like, oh, for the glory of Rome, and there's a sequence between him and Lucius later. I was like, this is awesome.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, every scene he did, it was kind of like what you were saying with Denzel. Yeah, he's a minor character, but every scene he's in is good.
It's really good. I actually wish we had more of him in this movie. Yeah. I would have traded him a little bit more. But once again, I get it. He's only really a side character.
Yep.
But awesome every single time, man, in that movie. So what about Connie Nielsen coming back? She's like seeing her.
She's the same character.
Connected to Pedro Pascal's character, by the way. Once again, very small universe, right? Oh, wait a minute. That's his wife? Wait, huh? So
She feels the same as she did in the first one. I feel like she feels the same role.
Yeah,
and she feels like the same character. 16 years later or whatever. So yeah, I think she did a good job.
That's supposed to be taking place 16 years later.
Yeah,
And then the emperors, I actually really liked, especially Joseph Quinn. He's the one that I noticed, I recognize the most. Famous from Stranger Things. He is about to actually be in with Pedro Pascal in the Fantastic Four as well. So it's been kind of weird where they're like, "I'll talk to you later. We'll be friends." And then Fred Heckinger. I've never really seen him in anything. At least I don't think I have. So I love how these are like the Roman equivalent to like, just like, dude, we got some like wrong people in the wrong positions just because of their family ties.
It's Joffrey all over again, right?
In a way, like they're obviously not all stable. Emperor Geta, played by Joseph Quinn, is definitely the one that's, you can tell he's a little over the top with the violence. He's just wants to keep conquering. He doesn't care about what's going on with the people. It's funny too because like he thinks he can talk to the gods, and he's like, oh, and they're wearing makeup to cover up. I think they're like sickly. That's why I think that's what they're trying to get at, right?
Is that what it's for? I thought that was just like a normal thing that they did.
I don't know.
Like the whole emperor thing.
Obviously, one of the emperors is like definitely not all there. The other guy.
Oh yeah. I mean, he had a monkey, and he's like part of the Senate, right?
Yeah. When he's doing that, and he's like the slower of the two because they're twins, right? Which is kind of cool, by the way. It's cool that they're like, hey, they're twin emperors, but something's up with them. I don't know if the white skin is just like a sign of like royalty or some shit, but I had it under the impression like they were just absolutely nuts, right? So,
oh, they're definitely not all there. Like as far as like character, they're supposed to be kind of like crazy, right? Because even in the beginning, like the first like scene is like them setting the stage, and they're like, the city's not going to last very long with these two as emperor, right?
Oh yeah, and that leads to Denzel's character, right? Macronus is he is in a like, he was an ex-slave, became a gladiator. Now he's like the gladiator guy. He owns a ton of gladiators, right? And that's how he buys Lucius after seeing him fight some fucking monkeys, actually, which is random. I was like, well, monkeys.
Really crazy scene, but it was actually really cool.
It's weird. He like eats one almost. But then it's funny because then once again, as the people are making monkey noises, and instead of getting all pissed, he just kind of smiles and starts laughing with them. Like he gets it. I was like, oh, okay, he's got some humor, even though he's just a terrible situation.
Yeah, and they call him monkey eater and stuff.
Yeah. It's just making the noises at him when he sits down at the table. Like, oh shit. So, like I said, I think Denzel's performance is really good. He's very manipulative. He wants to join the Senate, right? And he's gonna pretty much do anything he can do to get into that position. And this is what I'm talking about. He tells Lucius early on that he's gonna use him as a tool, and Lucius gets back at him and says like, I'm not a tool for anybody, right? And that's like a hint already that like, hey, I'm not gonna do what you want me to do. But at that point, though, like it's so fresh, I didn't know if like maybe he just becomes friends with them later. I don't know, like I didn't know, like I'm like maybe they'll become cool.
I don't know. I feel like that's a kind of like an artificial fight, like right? It's like,
is it just
they
like
didn't really need
like,
it.
I'm my own man?
Yeah, it's just guys being guys kind of thing. It's like, it's like, hey, I'm not gonna follow what you told me just because I don't have to.
Dudes being dudes again, not a big deal, man. I'm just letting you know. Just a bunch of dudes being dudes. Pretty chill guy, if you know what I mean. It was cool though. Like I thought the plot differentiates itself enough, right, from the first one. Don't get me wrong. It's similar in a way. It's about a guy that is somewhat captured, sold into slavery, becomes a gladiator, and then frees Rome by the right. Realistically, right? Technically, right?
Yeah.
Pretty close, but. It's a pretty long movie. It's 2.5 hours long, right? But just like the first film, even though like I didn't agree with everything that happens in the last act of this movie, I still thought the pacing was great in this movie.
Yeah, I didn't get bored. Like for a 2.5 hour movie, it was really packed with.
See,
stuff.
look at that's what really got. He's like, they're ready for the 4-hour cut now. They're ready. They've learned.
But I kind of like how they kind of expanded on like the whole like secret underground of like the politics and stuff, right?
Which is it's funny though that it's still happening like 16 years later. I'm like, I guess Maximus's thing didn't work, right?
Yeah,
I was like, that was short lived. Shit.
Well, I think it all comes down to like the emperor, right? Like they just got the wrong people there, and then they allowed stuff to happen, and it kind of shows a lot of that kind of stuff here. Where the first one kind of dipped into it with like the whole like them trying to overthrow.
They have a similar kind of thought in this one, and in both movies, like slight spoiler, like they both it doesn't happen, right?
Right.
Like, oops, people get caught ahead of time. Like they have the dude. As soon as it was funny because even when he's like, "Where's your army at?" and I was like, "Maximus tried that before too, buddy." Yeah, his army didn't make it. What did you think about the action sequences?
I thought they're good. I mean, the opening one was crazy. Like I like the boats coming down and stuff. It
was
just
cool.
It amped you up for like the movie. Like it got you ready.
It also
And-
shows you like General Acacius, his Pedro Pascal's character leading the charge and shit.
Yeah, I mean, he goes in
Intense,
and
man.
does stuff. Yeah, I do this shit myself, right?
Yeah, basically because the tower's not coming down, and he's like, "Give me a helmet and a shield." Then he goes out there and he's just rushing through the boat to just chop that shit down. So it lands down. I'm like, "Oh my god, he's a man's man."
And then even in the Coliseum, they did some crazy stuff with boats and stuff.
Oh, I love that they did the naval battles.
Yeah, it
when,
was really
I,
cool.
when I studied ancient history back in high school, I remember telling like they used to flood the Coliseum and have naval battles, and I was like, "Dude, that would have been fucking awesome." And now we get to see it, and I was like, "That's fucking awesome."
Yeah,
Very cool. They added the monkey scene was cool. The one-on-one fight between Lucius and Acacius, fucking awesome.
Yeah.
I really wish that was more of like near like the end. We'll talk about the end because I think the end scene falls a little flat with the action sequence. It's like,
no, agreed.
eh,
Yeah, agreed.
shit, that's it.
I mean, it comes at a time too where like, yeah. Well, I guess we'll talk about the spoilers a little bit more, but
Yeah.
there's a reason the fight is like that. I guess is what I'm saying. So it's,
Oh, there is. It is, but you can definitely tell they took some time on certain ones. I'm like, that's the epic fight. Get it? I just like the first time you even see, once again, very similar to the first movie where Lucius kind of takes charge of the gladiators and he gains their respect. Like, follow my lead. And there's always that one guy who's like, what do you mean? Why do we have to follow you? I'm like, that guy's dead, I mean, he's it's some shit out of Dungeons and Dragons, man. He fights a guy that's literally riding a fucking war rhino, dude. Like, it's wild.
awesome. It's super awesome. Yeah.
Wild though, and then you get him out, and then you find out he's like a ginger. You're like, oh my god, I didn't know they had those back then. So, last thing too, I liked how it was shot too, and I liked that they use a lot of the music from the original movie, and there's new music obviously, but they have that little. I kind of call it like Maximus theme.
Yeah,
It
and even
comes
the new
in,
songs kind of fit in, right?
Pretty good moments, yes.
Yeah, there was a couple scenes like when they were in like the Gladiator, like under the Coliseum, where they had like a light beam coming through, and it was like in the middle of the scene. It was just really cool. They had some cool shots, definitely.
It's shot really well. I think, especially comparing this to last year's Napoleon, which I thought like fell flat on every like aspect of cinematography, pacing. Like Napoleon was a movie where I was like, dude, can this fucking end? I can't believe there's another hour to this movie, But this film just really worked for me, man. So before we jump into spoilers, let's jump into our ratings, Mikey. What would you give Gladiator 2?
I gave this one 3.5. It was good. It's definitely recommend, especially like the first one. It relates a lot of stuff to it. It was good. I had fun with it.
Cool. What about you, Marco? Oh, wait. For this one as well, I gave it 3.5 stars. It does not quite hit the highs of the first Gladiator film, but I still think it was a real fun watch. I think you'll hear why I probably rated it 3.5, which is still a good rating, by the way. But it's mostly the ending for me. Like I said, the last act really kind of just ruined it a slight bit for me. But I still recommend it. If you love the first movie, check this out. I think you'll still like it. There's a lot to like here, so take a look. So we're going to jump into a spoiler section. So if you don't want to hear about the end of the film, which I highly recommend you skip if you haven't seen it yet, just so you don't ruin it for yourself, go ahead and jump forward to our Wicked review. So with spoilers here, Mikey, though. Okay, so Macrinus just taking charge. He basically helps, or he manipulates Emperor Caracalla to get in his head that Emperor Geta is basically like, oh, he's going to turn on you and tell the people that like it was your fault. Because after the death of General Acacius, the city is in like an uproar. Because Lucius brings it up like, hey, if they can kill like Rome's greatest person, what does that mean about you? And everyone's like, fuck, he's right. And so they kill the other emperor, and then Caracalla, insane dude. He appoints his monkey like right hand man. He appoints Macrinus to the Senate, and then Macrinus pulls out fucking Emperor Geta's head, and he basically just kind of like he's just comparing dick sizes. Boy, he's like, hey, pretty cool, huh? What would
Well,
happen?
yeah, I mean, he uses that to control the Senate, right?
What would happen if this happened? Well, he's trying to show like this is what happens when people turn on people, or like this is what I can have happen to you, and they're like, shit. I'd have been like, yo, there's like 40 of us, and there's one of you, dude.
Yeah, but the
Whoop his
senators
ass
are like
now.
not fighters, right? They're
Whoop his
just
ass.
chilling.
No, they are. They are. I thought it was funny, by the way. Senator Grack is the one of the two people that returned from the first film is murdered in the scene. He dies so quick in a scene like in the Coliseum that I was like, well, that sucks for that guy that was in the first fucking film and basically got an Admiral Akbar death from fucking Star Wars Episode 8, right?
I mean, it slows a slash, right? And then it like just goes on its
Yeah,
way.
it's quick too. It's like,
Yeah.
maybe the director's cut he said something. Who knows?
Well, honestly, though, like you could have missed that. Like you might not
I only
even
knew
know
it
he
because I
died.
knew it was
right?
from the first one. I was
Yeah.
like, oh shit. Is that established actor Derek Jacobi getting slashed across the face and dying? Oh my god. But before we even get to that though, the city's in uproar. They're having a final he even manipulates the emperor to kill Lucia. Because he doesn't even want to. He's like,
do we have to?
yeah, because technically that's probably his aunt or something. They're related somehow, technically, right? Aren't they from the same line?
They got to be somewhere in the
Something
same
like
blood,
that, right?
Yeah.
I'm like, okay, so he was like, and then Macronus, I thought this is when you really start seeing it. He's evil as fuck. He's like, we have to get rid of her. The people are never going to respect you until you do it. And then I was like, he's basically doing this so he can turn the people on him, and he thinks it's going to be a quick one because Lucius goes into the Coliseum as like defending his mom and the other senators that were captured and during the kind of coup, I guess, right? But didn't know that Lucius freed all the other gladiators, and it's just like it's fucking the scene from Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Fucking Geonosis, and when the Jedi show up, like, oh shit. This scene is almost where I was like, there's too much going on. It's insane how much is going on. We don't get enough time for it to emotionally sit. This is what kind of rubbed me the wrong way. Macronus pulls out a bow, kills Lucius's mom right when he's about to free her, right? I thought he was going to shoot him for a second. I was like, is he going to take the shot? Kills her off. You don't get a lot between them at that point. I didn't really feel like the mother-son relationship. I feel like it could have really... They could have done something with that. I wanted a lot more drama out of that. I wanted a little bit more... Like, I forgive you for what happened. You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Kind of like,
Yeah, I think Lucilla should have lived, and
Yes.
then the whole like mourning piece at the end could have been to his wife, and it would still have the same kind of ending, right? I mean, he just sees his wife instead of Lucilla, and then Lucilla is still alive. I think that would have been a lot better, of an ending than what we got. And everything happens so fast, like you said, you really don't have a way to like emotionally connect yourself to anything that happens at the last,
no, it's like a really big miss. I'm like, oh.
No.
Even then, he even kills the other emperor by putting like a big ass needle in his ear.
Yeah.
Just killed his ass. And even then, I was like, would have wanted a little more out of that. Just a little more. I don't know why it feels so rushed. The last 20 minutes feels really rushed to me for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, you got a lot going on, right? Because they took all the senators, well, the ones that were going to.
But during that little coup thing that were going to be with General Acacius and Lucilla, the ones that were basically meeting them in their little underground bunker, where the fuck it was.
Yeah, so you have Acacius, and then you have the senators, you have Lucilla, all dying in like the last 20 minutes, right? And it's
Pretty
all
quick,
right? It's all quick. And then while that's all happening, while they're all in the arena and they're doing all that, while that's happening,
the army's coming because Ravi, medic guy that has befriended Lucius, that gave him the keys, by the way, to free the other gladiators.
But not only that, is like Macronus is doing all the stuff you just talked about, right? He's killing the senator, or not the senator,
he's
the
doing
emperor.
that. Yep.
He's like getting out of town. We got the army coming in. There's just so much stuff happening at that last
But then
section.
it's almost like a red herring, though. Like they're tricking you out. Like, oh, there's gonna be this epic fucking battle between the two armies. But it's like, no, they're gonna let Macronus and Lucius fight in a fight that, I get it. Like, it's not supposed to be as epic as the fight between Lucius and General Cassius, right? Like that's the fight. If you're gonna watch a fight in this movie, right?
Yeah.
Between two people, like 1-on-1. I mean, not to mention, Cassius kills like 5 honor guards, like by himself. Like, Jesus Christ, right? I think it's like, because we keep on throughout the film, Lucius keeps having these visions where he is seeing, like, I'm assuming, I don't know if it's like the river Styx, right, or something, and he's seeing death, and he's taking like his wife across the river, and it's supposed to be like. But then who tells him? So doesn't Robbie tell him like it's not always actually a bad sign if someone that happens? I can tell that can also mean like you're letting go of something.
Yeah, there's a difference of culture, right? Like
yeah, exactly. He's like it's not always a bad thing what you're seeing, and he's flashing in and out. It's to show you that like he's near death, I think, because he is. I mean, seemingly being drowned at the end, almost right by Macronus in the little river or the little creek. I don't really know. It's not really much. And then it's funny because like. Maximus's armor is what saves him, actually. Because, or maybe just Denzel's hella weak. I don't know. But Macronus is trying to stab him, and it's I thought that was kind of symbolic. Like the armor with the horses that he really liked as a kid is the thing that saves his life, right? And it's just clanging off. Apparently, Max's armor was like really good. Like really good. Like, well, I guess the only way he really was going to die in the first one is if someone stabbed him in the fucking back before they fought him, right?
Like, I wonder he was a good gladiator, right?
I was like, holy shit, his armor is like plus 100. What the fuck, dude? So, and then it is cool that he chops his fucking hand off, though.
Yeah.
That was fucking dope, man. And he just pops up, boom, and then boom. I was like, and now he's dead.
I know they kind of lean towards it, but do they actually say that Macronus was a gladiator?
Yeah, because he says he was a slave. Oh, sorry, we skipped it. He was a slave to Emperor Aurelius. That was his personal slave, and then he became. I don't know. I don't know. Was he a gladiator?
They never actually say he was. I mean, it's assumed. I think, but I don't think he was.
I think he brings it up that he was a gladiator, and that's how he got his freedom.
Okay.
Because that makes sense. Because if he was a slave, his slave badge was on his chest, though, which we didn't see. Whoa, right? And then I thought that was really tacked on, where he's talking to Lucilla, and it's like your dad was the reason why I was this person, and therefore, like that's why he wants his revenge against like the emperors and shit. Because that part was really weak for me, plot wise.
Yeah, because he's saying the city needs to come down as a whole, right? He needs to burn the whole city down in order to like restart it. So
yeah, which is like, okay, I guess.
Yeah. I mean, it was one person that had you as a slave, and you guys burned the whole city down. Okay,
yeah, he already died like 16 years ago. Dude, relax. Like he's gone. And then Lucius fulfills his destiny. Really, he goes and unites the armies. Is like, put your weapons down.
It's kind of weird that's almost like an accident, though. Right?
Kind of.
I mean, he just wins.
He reveals himself, though. He does tell them who he is, right? Yeah. So he kind of gets the best of both worlds because, like, General Cassius reveals that he was in Maximus's army, and that army was very loyal to the original emperor. And then the other city army, I guess, is just like, man, fuck it, I guess, right? They're kind of like, yeah, put your weapons down.
I mean, honestly, they don't have a leader anymore, right? I mean,
also why? Because they look at him and they're like, could be worse.
Yeah, I don't know. I just thought it was a weird scene. Like I get the ending, but it's just
even
really
the
strange.
ending's weird. Where he he mourns his parents. Really,
yeah.
It's not even his wife. Like he's thinking about his mom, and then it goes to a scene of basically Maximus back from the ending of the first movie, where he's in like the afterlife, and has the famous scene with hand through the tall grass and stuff, right?
The wheat.
Yeah, the wheat or whatever it is. Yeah, because he's a farmer, right? So, and then it's just kind of that, and then he just gets emotional, and I was like, I don't really feel like that was earned.
Yeah, and I said it earlier. I think mourning his wife would have been better. Like he avenged his wife.
But in a way, wasn't he mourning her the whole time? I guess that's why.
I mean, yeah, but like, I don't know. I mean, he really didn't know his mom. Like,
not really. It didn't seem like it.
Like 4 scenes, right? 4 times.
Even when she just kept visiting her. Sorry, these are the only scenes we got with you guys. Sorry about that. And even he was like really again, like we were talking about earlier. Like there's the first time he's just pissed that she's there because he obviously recognized her, right? And she recognized him pretty easy too. And then,
she recognized him because of something he says, right?
He quotes the Virgil line that was in his room because she still had his room still there, like seemingly like untouched because she thought he died, right? So she didn't touch his room or some shit. And it's not until after he kills her husband and he tells her like, I'm sorry, I didn't want to. I didn't choose to do that. And Acacius gets like shot by 1,000 fucking arrows. And when they connect again, and she's like, "You have the strength of your father," and blah blah. I'm like, this is kind of weird. They kept really kind of forcing that down her throat. I was like, I get it, but I mean, he didn't really know him either. You know, like this guy's been gone for like 16 years. He's like had a whole different. He's been gone longer than he lived ever in Rome. So
yeah,
I mean, okay, you know, he was 12 when it happened. Now he's 28, right? So He lived a life. He got married, for God's sakes, So
Yeah.
He's
He's
I'm
had a
like,
whole life, right?
literally, like, hey, yeah, I had some shit going. But then his mom gives him the ring, and then that's Maximus's ring. So that's why he's like, oh, okay, there's a connection here. So, any last comments before we move on?
I mean, you kind of said it already, but I mean, we kind of beat up the last half of this movie. If you listen to the spoilers and everything else, it's still a really good movie.
Yeah, you might think like, man, why did the John's probably like their fucking rankings are too high again, man. I don't get it. No, there's a purpose. I still liked it.
Yeah,
So that is my critical like thoughts on that though. So
yeah,
that's all.
Enjoyable. So,
oh yeah, 100%. Let's move on now to our review of Wicked Part 1.
Oh, you're green. I am.
Together we're unlimited.
She had her secrets. Absolutely remarkable.
There's no fight we cannot win. Just you and I, defying gravity.
Why is it you're always causing some sort of commotion?
I don't cause commotions. I am one. Some of us are just different.
Listen to me. You can do anything.
So Wicked, technically Part 1, sitting at a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Elphaba, a misunderstood young woman because of her green skin, and Glinda, a popular girl, become friends at Shiz University in the Land of Oz. After encounter with the wonderful Wizard of Oz, their friendship reaches a crossroads. Directed by John M. Chu, who most recently directed In the Heights in 2021, Crazy Rich Asians in 2018, and Now You See Me Too in 2016. This was also released on November 22nd, 2024 in theaters. With a budget of $150 million, it's already made $162.9 million so far. This stars Cynthia Erivo as Elphaba Throp, Ariana Grande as Galinda Upland, Jonathan Bailey as Fiero Tigalar, Michelle Yeoh as Madame Morrible, Jeff Goldblum as the Wonderful Wizard of Oz, Ethan Slater as Bach Woodsman, Marissa Bode as Nessa Rose Throp, who is Elphaba's sister, and Peter Dinklage as Dr. Dillamond. He's a goat. I didn't realize that was Peter Dinklage until I wrote this out. I was like, oh, that's who it is. I recognize the voice. Like, who the fuck is this, man? So, Mikey, I got to ask you first, with Wicked, any history of the play or the book that it's based on?
So funny enough, in high school, I saw a handycam version of the play. So someone like recorded it in the audience, and we watched that version in high school.
The fuck?
Yeah, really weird, right? I do not remember anything about this movie, though. I was probably not even paying attention in high school. So yeah, no, I don't have too much with this one here.
Yeah, I don't have any connection, no. I mean, I know what the Wizard of Oz is. I know what the Wiz is. I know what to Return to Wizard of Oz or Oz and the Great and Powerful. But that's about it. I don't, there's a lot of like, I think this isn't like that, what's it called? Where anybody can write about it, right? It's not like copyrighted anymore, I think, or some shit. It's been over 100 years. So that's why there's a lot of variation, so anybody can do it. But no, I have no connection to it. I know. I mean, I'm aware of the Wicked play. Obviously, that was the one that was more popular, and especially back when it first came out. But yeah,
it's a pretty big hit, though, right? As far as the play goes.
Oh yeah. Huge hit. What did you think of Wicked, though, Mikey? We got to see an early Amazon Prime screening on it on the Monday before, so that's why we could definitely have done this podcast way earlier if I'd known it was just us two doing it. But what do you think? Huh? What about you, big guy? Huh? Did you like? You like Wicked?
I thought it was good. There's a lot of things I didn't like about this one. But
do you like musicals though?
I normally don't mind them. Like I watch them when they pop up here. I don't like avoid them. There is something about them normally that there are ways that they can bug me. Like this one is a little over the top. I know it's meant to be that way.
It is.
But the acting is like way over the top. Every single character except for Elphaba, I believe, is kind of over the top. And it just got to me in this one. I'm not sure if it was just like that much more than the other ones I've watched recently as far as musical goes. But for whatever reason, it was taking me out of this one here. It was just like too much to take in. Still a good movie. The performances are great, especially the musical performances. I thought all the musical and like the dancing and everything like that were fantastic. The visuals were really cool in this one. I thought it really kind of fit into the world of Oz. You really kind of fit everything in there.
I mean, they did a really good job with that. Yeah.
So there was a lot to like about this, and I didn't dislike the movie as a whole, but there was a lot of things that kind of annoyed me. Just the whole over the top acting and like the
You're like, what the
niceness,
fuck?
right, of everybody.
What the
It just got
fuck?
to be.
I
a
mean,
little
it
bit
is the
much.
Land of Oz where they kind of does that. I
That's
see
what I'm
that
saying.
didn't, that
I
didn't
know it's
bother
meant to
me.
be. Yeah.
What bothered me was that the movie's fucking 2 hours and 40 minutes long, and for the love of, from what I understand, the entire stage production itself, parts 1 and 2. There's no parts 1 and 2. It's just the play is 2 hours and 45 minutes with a 15-minute intermission, right? So they definitely extended a lot of scenes here to kind of get you into the characters, but I liked it overall. I thought Cynthia Erivo, even though she's like a drama queen in real life, but I mean, hey, who cares?
Yeah.
Her and Ariana Grande worked really well together. Ariana Grande, annoying as hell in this movie, but like she's supposed to be.
Yeah.
She kind of changes by the end, which I liked. I was actually really the most impressed with her because I didn't think I was going to like her character because at first I was like, oh, what the fuck is this, right? And I thought it was supposed to be like, oh, she's really trying to be like the Glinda from the fucking Oz movie where she's like high-pitched voice and hella fucking weird. But then you really do see a little bit more of like the realistic side of it, like what could possibly happen. And obviously, there's a different take on the whole Wizard of Oz kind of story, and I liked it. It's very cynical in a way. It has a lot of. I wouldn't say I wasn't like a huge fan of the music. Like, there's a few that I recognize. I didn't realize that. I was like, oh, it's from this, I guess, But for the most part, like, it works. Everybody sings really well. It's really colorful. It's very fantastical. There's really good effects. It's just the pacing of it just a little too long for my taste for a musical. There's a few numbers that I was like, all right, I got it. You can just get out of that goddamn school now, right? Nope, still there 2 hours in. That's cool too, right? So I
mean, the bulk of the movie does take place there, so I kind of understand that, and I do think the pacing is an issue, and it's kind of weird because, well, it feels long. I feel like a lot of the like major plot points kind of happen quickly.
They do. Once again, another movie where the last act really kind of just gets you through it, right? Like, oh shit, that was quick.
Yeah, it's and like even small things like the Galinda Elphaba, like their relationship, like they don't like each other, and then all of a sudden they like each other, and then it kind of progresses from there.
Yeah, we mostly follow Elphaba, right? And why there's a story to their background, which I have a feeling I already discovered what the real true meaning of that background is for part 2. We'll see. But I think like it's mostly her. She's like the main character, right? And you're seeing where her perspective is kind of twisted and how she's seen as evil, right? That's the whole point of I think that's the whole point of the Wicked story, right? For the most part.
I mean, she's not even, at least at the beginning of the movie, she's not even seen as wicked yet. It's just misunderstood, I guess, because she has.
Yeah, she's green. It's weird.
Yeah.
I mean, she's still got some big ass fucking hands though. Girl could play for the New York Jets. Fuck. But then we get Ariana Grande, where she's trying to be like, oh, I want to do magic too. But actually, Cynthia Erivo's character, Elphaba, she actually has real magic, and it shows. And she actually cares. Like, there's a subplot with like the animals and like speciesism, I guess. I don't know what you would call it, like racism toward the animals, and because like they don't belong here, like get rid of the
pets, basically.
Get rid of these goats. Even though it's shown that like they were like the true first kind of creatures in the Land of Oz, and it's like people trying to erase things that they don't want. It's like it's pretty dark actually if you think about it. Some pretty dark shit. But Elphaba wants to help them out, and then for me it was almost like with Galinda, like there is a switch, but she also, I think there's a really good scene where they go to that club, right? And she just realizes, like, hey, I'm an asshole. I was actually, like, gave her the hat to be, like, a bitch, right?
Yeah, but that takes 30 seconds, right? Because literally the scene before,
they're having a fight. What I'm saying is, like,
song.
Yes, but the whole point is that Elphaba goes to Madame Morrible and is like, hey, you have to let her into... Because she realizes, like, how much it actually means to her. Like, she really wants to do it, right? And then that's the scene where I thought it was really well done because they actually finally connect. And it's like, oh, they actually, Galinda's not like a total fucking bitch, right? No offense. Like, she's not, right? She's actually like a real person. Like, yes, she's very cheerful. but it's not an act. Like she genuinely kind of is like just that kind of person. Like she's really annoying and over the top pink shit all the time, but like deep down inside, if you get to the root of her, she actually has like a real heart, is what I'm getting at, right?
Yeah, and that scene is really good. And also it's like you see a turning point because she caused some of the laughter and like the
yes, and
the
she
stuff
feels
that
bad
happened, and she feels bad. Yeah,
shit,
so it
it's
really kind
me.
of shows another side, like you were saying. So it's real good.
And it is funny because I mean they bring Fierro with them, and he's a prince, right? And he's like 52 years old, and he's like, hey, And then even he starts like thinking like maybe Elphaba's okay. I don't know. There's a weird fucking love triangle between them. I was like, what the fuck is going on here?
It's kind of nice because, or not nice, but it's kind of funny that Glinda like not even aware that it's even happening most of the movie.
Yeah, she's kind of like the comedic relief.
Yeah,
right. She's just like, I don't know, he's acting weird, right? It's kind of I'll admit it. Ariana did a pretty good job. It impressed me. I won't lie. Because at first I was like, oh fuck, I thought they just got her because big name added to the movie. More people will see it, right? Obviously, she's gonna, she interviews well, just promoting the shit out of this thing. But I liked how their relationship started. It's very tempestuous. She has to share a room. That they, like you said, there is a whole song between them. Goes on way too fucking long, but then they become really good friends, and then they, by the end of the film, it's very separate, like paths they're taking. That's what I'll say.
And you can tell though it's like it's separate paths, but they're still friends. They still care about each other.
Yeah, but they realize like I have to do this because of certain. It's almost like Elphaba's like I've been pushed in a way where I have to defend myself, right? And Glinda understands that she can't go with her. Literally knows like I can't go with you because like she doesn't have magic. That's really what it comes down to, right? She's like, you're like the real deal. I'm just like a manufactured poster child. That's what she's going to become, basically, right? Like, I'm going to be like the fight for good, even though, like, deep down inside, just like Oz, like, everyone knows the story. It's not a spoiler. Like, he uses technology, basically, to kind of manipulate everyone. Especially if you've seen Oz and the Great and the Powerful, you know why, right? But it's because he's like a trickster. He's not really like a wizard.
He's a magician, right?
He's a magician. Like a fucking cheap magician that you would hire at like a kid's party, right? But he's just gained power there, and he has this idea for everything, and it's just like Glinda, everything she's ever wanted, she can get through him, right? But Elphaba realizes that she herself is special. But that's jumping ahead a bit. But what about the other characters? Anyone else that really stood out to you?
I actually thought Jeff Goldblum, he's not in it very long, but him as Oz is really good. I thought he did a good job as him.
Last couple minutes, really, if you think about it. Maybe longer. I don't know. Once again, the movie's fucking long as fuck.
And then you mentioned Fierro being really old. He does kind of stand out. He looks way older.
He does look a bit too old. I'm like, everyone else, I'm like, okay. Even though I think Ariana Grande is like close to being late 20s, early, almost 30, right? I think.
Yeah, that sounds about right. But I think he did a good job, though. Fierro did a pretty decent job in the singing episode. He did. I mean, because I assume at least that he does everything himself. He does all the dancing and the singing himself.
Yeah, and I'm thinking too, like he's supposed to be kind of like how Elphaba's like more than it seems and just what that person is, right? Like Elphaba is a green person, but she has powers, but she still has feelings and stuff. And Fierro is like known as like this party animal, but truthfully, he does have thoughts on things, and he does actually side with Elphaba about saving the creatures. Which, by the way, that lion is supposed to be the Cowardly Lion. So like they save a lion in the movie, and that's the Cowardly Lion.
Oh, really? I didn't realize that. I knew obviously I knew it was a lion, but
that's the lion. That's the Cowardly Lion.
Is that why he's cowardly?
Put him up. Yeah. That's why he's scared, because when he was a child, they was trying to kill him.
Because part 2 is basically the Wizard of Oz, just from the other point of view, right?
From what I understand, yes, it's supposed to be like we're gonna get Dorothy and them telling him like, "Hey, go search them out," or it's a time jump. I think there's gonna be like a time jump, obviously, because the lion has to grow up, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. But basically, I think it takes place like a few years later.
It makes sense.
Leading up to it, and it shows you probably, I'm assuming, like Galinda becoming who she becomes, and Elphaba. I mean, that's jumping ahead a bit, but you know what I mean? Like, she's probably going to get them monkeys on her side, take over that dark castle. Then that map, by the way, they just kept showing it on the left side. I'm like, whose fucking castle is that? Whose random dark ass castle? No one's, huh? No one's. That's weird. I thought Michelle Yeoh was cool because she comes off as trying to help at first, but she's actually super with Oz, and we'll get to that in a second, how it's kind of revealed what the true intentions are. But Did you like how they kind of started it out with I mean, if you've never seen Wizard of Oz, sorry, it almost came out 100 fucking years ago. But basically the death of Elphaba, right? Like she dies. And it's basically Galinda, or sorry. See, it's weird. She goes by Galinda at first, but then changes her name to Glinda, which is the classic use of that name. So it's the same person. Galinda, same thing. She even makes fun of the goat at one point about it. Glinda. So, but anyways, Glinda is this is basically her retelling the story of like, she's trying to at first say like, oh, we weren't friends, but then actually maybe we knew each other a little more. To the past, right? It was interesting, is what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think
they don't jump back to it enough, though. I thought they were going to keep going back to her.
Yeah,
the story.
I was that's what I was thinking myself here. I was like, I don't think that part was needed because they never actually revisited it.
I think it's needed only because it's showing you the end of the Wizard of Oz, right? The original one, to show you like.
Do we need to see that though? I mean, yeah, we had a song there, but. Was it needed? I don't think we really needed it. We could have jumped right into the story, I think.
Maybe it's to show you it's like a tragic story. Like Elphaba is killed, right? We all know she dies because Dorothy throws a bucket of water on her. And they're basically just trying to show you like maybe she wasn't as bad as you think she was. And that's really and then they Tarantino it and they go back to fucking like, let's see how we got to this point, right?
Yeah, I guess it kind of shows the emotional side of Glinda.
Because then you know like she's dead. She doesn't make it, guys.
I see what you're saying.
You know, it's cool. The connections. There's a lot of connections with Wizard of Oz. We got the monkeys. I really like the look of Emerald City. I thought that looked really cool.
Yeah, it was nice. Yeah,
it's really cool. Like visually wise, the movie looks really good.
And the sets were really complex, really nice.
The school's cool, right? The school's
everything.
Give me Harry Potter vibes. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yeah, the library with
all with the rotating,
it was crazy.
Circular. It was really like. Don't go in with a headache because I was like, this is confusing me. My brain, you know?
But yeah, very mystical. And they even use like words that are not even real words. They like make up their own words.
They have like a slang, right? Yeah, I noticed that too. I was just like, I guess if you're really into this, you would know what they're talking about. But they're like, that's fantastic.
They're close enough to like real. Yeah, they're like close enough to real words. You know what they mean and everything. So it wasn't too bad.
It's imaginable. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it was cool though for the most part. Like a lot of it worked. Like I said, the music for me was the one thing that. But once again, you go for the music, I guess. And once again, I know you said you don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with musicals either. Apparently, I like them when they hit the right way. So
yeah, I didn't like Mean Girls was terrible, for instance. So that was not a good one.
Never saw it, but I mean, I love La La Land. I think that's like a modern day musical. That's really good. I love Phantom of the Opera.
The Color Purple that just came out was really good.
Yeah, that was a good one. Yeah. I was surprised by that one, man.
So, yeah.
I think that's definitely a movie that... And those are kind of more modern day ones, though. This is more of a classical Broadway one, though, I would say. Like, this is the type, like, okay, this is... There's a way that they're trying to get the point across for these films, and they did good. Like I said, overall, it was good. I thought the visual effects was really well done.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we talked about the visual effects were great. There's not per se like a lot of action in this movie, but when it does happen, I would say it's near the end of the film for the most part.
It's done well.
Yeah, and it's done really well.
Chase scene and that was done. They had a few surprises.
And visually stunning. There's, you see, if you ever had like a nightmare of like these flying monkeys, which a lot of people did back in the day, I guess.
Hey, well, remember the scary episodes? This was Mikey's pick. It was Wizard of Oz.
Yeah, I recall.
The young Mikey would have been very frightened with this
I don't
movie.
know, man. This is fucking crazy. I'm like, I think you need to redo what you look at, man. But it was definitely like overall still a really good movie. Is what I'm trying to get at. This is not something where I'm trying to say like, oh, because of the 2 hour and 40 minutes. But that if you are a fan of, I guess, of this musical or this storyline in general, which apparently there's quite a lot. I didn't realize how big this was. a lot of fans. I was like, holy shit. So like, that's really big. Obviously with the movie that it's made, the money's made already. Obviously, you've probably already seen the damn movie, but it wasn't bad. So let's rate it then, Mikey. Let's give it a rating. We'll jump into the last few little spoilers here. What would you rate Wicked?
I give this one a 3.5 as well. I know I said there was a lot of things that bothered me, but I think that's just this genre in general, and it just kind of poked me a little bit extra on this one. But the music I liked a lot. I liked the visuals a lot. You can't go wrong. The 2 main characters were fantastic, I think, as far as their given roles. So I definitely recommend this one, especially if you like musicals. If you don't, you might want to check it out, but maybe not. Maybe wait.
Yeah, I don't know if a young kid would make it through this movie with just how long it is. It's so long. It is so long. Like, I can only imagine, like, if you do this in the second one back to back into the same, like, oh my god, right? Like, are you looking at a 5-hour, 6-hour movie almost? Like, oh my god, dude. But
By the way, did they actually say this was a part 1? Like, I didn't even realize it was I knew it was a part 1 because I just knew that. But
on the title screen, it says Wicked Part 1.
well, I saw that in the movie, but the posters don't say part 1.
Apparently,
Like, those
some
are
of the posters do
materials.
some of the posters do say Part 1. Apparently,
Maybe I just didn't see the right ones then. Okay.
I almost felt like they were trying to hold it off to be like, "There's more," but I mean, I knew already there was 2 parts to it, so I'm like, okay. So I didn't know if that was supposed to be a secret or not, but I was like, they already filmed the shit back to back, so they're not gonna. For such a big one, I already knew they weren't gonna like. We're gonna wait to see if they does well enough, and then we'll do the second one. Like, no, they did the second one already.
Yeah, I knew there was 2 parts. I just didn't see it in any of the promotional material that I
They're
remember.
up by a year though. Like the next one doesn't come out till November 2025, which is I think kind of a smart move. A lot of times they're not trying to rush it out. Like, and now this one will be out in 3 months.
Yeah,
I would give it 4 actually. I really like this one. So although I think it's just too long, once again, too long of a movie. I think the leads are great. I think it has. While not as catchy tunes as I would have liked, I think the music still is well done. The set pieces are great. Visual effects are awesome. So I'd highly recommend checking this one out. So we're going to jump into spoilers here. It's just the last couple little things. So if you want to hold off, just go to our outro. Listen to what we are possibly getting to next. Me, Mikey, I don't know. Maybe 2 other guys. I don't know. Who knows? All right, so the ending. So Oz and Morble, they reveal that they are using Elphaba to read from this book of magic that originally, by the way, is supposed to be like in English, by the way, but they don't know what English is there, right? Oh, it's English, right? But they changed it a little bit. And she basically creates those monkeys and she can do all these spells. And they're like, oh, now we can use the monkeys as spies. I was like, damn, Michelle, you really took a fucking turn there, didn't you?
Yeah,
She's
it happens really fast.
cool up into this moment where and then you realize like her and she's the one that wrote the shit on the board probably. So fucking Dr. Dillman, right? I was like, damn, Michelle, you crazy.
No, I don't think that was him. I think that was one of the students.
I think it might have been her though.
No,
I don't
it's
know.
possible.
I had a question though. Does she actually know magic then?
Well, she controls the weather, right?
Does she, or is there a machine up there that controls the weather? Because it
know,
seems like
yeah.
nobody actually has real magic except Elphaba. Although she did say that she could read a few words, so maybe she does have a little bit of magic, but it's not as powerful as Elphaba.
And then also in the very beginning, when Glinda is getting that whole introduction kind of part, she's doing the bubble like transport thing. So there is some magic in the place, even though it's not super powerful.
No, see, but Galinda's thing, that bubble thing is like a machine.
Is it?
She hits a button on the floor to do it, Mara.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
She triggers it with a button and then pops it with her thing because it's all just a facade. It's fake.
Yep. Okay, you're right.
I don't think she actually has any magic really, unless we find out part 2. Like everybody has a little bit of magic in them. You know?
So yeah, maybe it's a machine up to the weather machine.
No, but then she did say technically she's read a few words. So I was like, maybe I don't know what that means. Who knows?
No,
Well, sorry.
they've been lying the whole movie, right? So
True. And then Oz turns out to be a dirtbag, right? Like everybody finds out normally.
I mean, they found that out in the other movie too, right?
Yeah, and they're like, "Oh no, he's not really magical." He's like, "I don't have that stuff," you know. I was like, "Oh shit." I mean, that wasn't a shock to me though.
Yeah.
Even Michelle Yeoh, I was like, okay, I figured somebody was going to be part of this. Like, no, but I'd like to know more about like. I'm assuming they'll talk more about in the second one, like why they're so against the animals having like rights.
Yeah, I thought that was weird, right? Because I mean, the animals are like losing their ability to speak.
More and more that people like capture them or something, like the more and more they start reverting back to like their animalistic nature, I guess, right? Is it what they're kind of getting at?
Right. Yeah. So it's kind of weird how they kind of did that though. It's like they don't really mention why anything is happening, just that it's happening, and that these are the Oz and Morrible is basically the cause of it or the pushers of it.
The push for it, right?
Yeah.
Because I'm like, is he like the president technically?
Basically, right? People follow him.
How do the fucking politics work here, man? So Elphaba, she flies off basically, and that's when we get where Glinda can't go with her. She understands like they're taking 2 separate paths. She's trying to actually kind of convince her, like, "Hey, you should just apologize, and the wizard will give us anything we want." And because Glinda sees that like her future is all there. Like this is where I belong, and I can make a change, and blah blah. Blah. What did you think about that last kind of sequence overall of Glinda staying behind, getting kind of emotional, and Elphaba flying off to I don't know, just going somewhere
to the dark castle.
Yeah, the dark castle on the left side of that map. Probably that definitely looked like somebody was not like, oh, it looks vacant too. So
it really kind of points out to their individualness, right? So like Glinda was like the whole like super positive, bubbly kind of personality, and she's kind of conforming to like how the system works. And that's at the end. That's what she kind of has to do. She has to stick around. She has to do stuff.
I think so.
And then Elphaba is like, I've been against everybody my whole life, and she kind of gets pushed into that anyways.
And they're trying to still like make me the bad guy, and she's kind of over it. And she realizes that because she has that book too, and she can
actually do stuff, right?
She can do stuff, and she's a lot more powerful than they think.
Yeah. I mean, she's the reason they had wings. The monkeys had wings. They didn't have wings.
That was a cool location, right?
I thought it was cool. Yeah,
it was kind of dark, kind of some body humor, or like body
dysmorphia
horror there, where they're like screaming and shit. I was like, yo, this is kind of fucked up, dude.
Because they're like yelling and screaming because it hurts.
Yeah, and they're like, ah!
And then Morable's even telling him like she's the cause of your pain. Like,
yeah,
I was like, damn, this is dark.
So at this point, the monkeys are still on Oz's side, but as we know, if we're following the classic story, they're gonna probably, they're gonna ally themselves with Elphaba, right? And be like, yo, what are we're gonna go kill this little girl Dorothy or something, right? And she's like, whoa, I didn't say that. So,
they see them caging up
crazy.
the lions, right? They see them cage up the lions, like shit, man. They might cage us up too. Get out of here.
Yeah, they're doing all the creatures, right? And then because Elphaba even had like visions of Dr. Dillman being locked up and stuff like that, and she was like, she had Force dreams basically, like Anakin did in Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones. Another reference again. Good God, look at me. She's like, I have to save my mother.
Well, there was a whole scene too with all the different animals, right? Where they're kind of discussing like what's happening.
Yeah, she crashes in on Dr. Dillman, kind of like she overhears him talking to these other animals, and the animals are getting concerned, like, hey, we got to get out of here. Like they're capturing people are getting kidnapped. There's like, I'm telling you, that's going to be the dark subplot of this next one. I'm like, what's going on with all the animals? This is crazy. And it's funny, she comes in and like that back door is open because they all just ran out, except for he's like, yeah, come on in. What's up?
I'm like, changes everything.
I would have gave it like, I just saw a badger in here talking to you. I was wearing a corduroy vest. What are you talking about? Are you looking forward to part 2, Mikey?
I am actually. Well, let's see how it goes. I like the theme it's going to have, right? I mean, it's going to be the story we know from a different point of view. So yeah. I'm interested to see how that kind of all plays out.
It's going to be weird. Like, does she really die then? I'm assuming she actually does die, right? So is that going to be like tragic?
I assume so. Yeah.
They kind of mentioned she's like scared of water, right? Did they mention that or something like that?
Well, Morable like has an umbrella and says, "Oh, we can't get you wet," and it starts raining.
Yeah,
like, they put an umbrella for her, and then she stops the rain from happening. But like, how do they know that? Like, wouldn't she melt the first time she hit water? Like,
maybe there's something she's gonna do in one of the spells. I'm assuming, and that it gives you a weakness.
Okay,
maybe that's it. It's like a trade-off. Like you can get this power, but your weakness is kind of basic. Right? Like a fucking 9-year-old girl could probably kill you, quite literally. So that would be kind of cool, though. I guess we are going to see like Dorothy in the next movie. I wonder who's playing Dorothy. That'd be cool.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I liked all the performances. Personally, I liked all the music they did. So if they have a lot of the same characters doing performances in the next one, I assume I'm going to like the next one. So yeah,
I actually wish we didn't have to wait a year. I wish it was a little sooner. But I get it.
I know they mix it out. Yeah, they gotta space it out, right?
Yeah, or else we're gonna burn out a wicked
time and everything like that.
Right.
Yeah.
All right, Mikey, that's the end of the podcast. Thank you for everybody for tuning in to just me and Mikey murdering out a double feature that should have had way more people on it. Mikey, let them know how they can reach us.
You can listen and follow us on the preferred podcast platform. We're everywhere. For a convenient link to our social media channels, visit linktree/moviepalspod. That's linktr.ee/moviepalspod. And remember, hit that subscribe button and never miss a part 1 or a part 2.
Oh, look at you.
Shout out to Marco, right? Shout out to Marco. Plus, catch us on TikTok for sneak peeks of our upcoming episodes and more exciting movie content. follow us at Movie Pals Pod.
Thank you, Mikey. Make sure to tune in for our next episode, podcast episode 188, where we will be reviewing a very groovy trilogy. Just a little hint there. I won't say exactly, but if you know what I'm talking about, it's pretty easy to figure it out. Until next time, this is James.
And Mikey.
Yep, that's it. It's just us two. So maybe next time we'll have more people, right? So anyways, have a good one.